Uh, this class we will learn the supply demand, okay, and we will see the supply and demand. I mean, in the market, okay. This is actually one step ahead, uh, entering into economics main theory. In this chapter, we will see. Actually, this is classified chapter 4 in Mankew's Economics. And I told you I hope you purchased the textbook. Uh, market, market, okay, the market, which is the price economics, which is happens in this place, okay. And we will see the supply demand first, demand and supply. What is demand and what is supply, and what can be happen between these two relations, okay. And demand and supply, demand and supply. We will see the relations demand and supply, okay. And we will see how these two functions works in real market. So for this, we needed to understand market first. What is the market and what is the competitions? So at least prior to entering into economic theory, main economic theory from chapter 4, we needed to understand the concept of demand and supply and market, like this one. Okay, this one is very important as a basic understanding for pure study of economics. So this is example of demand. Okay, so demand. So in this kind of demand schedule, we call this is a demand schedule. Demand schedule. Meaning that showing this schedule shows that the demand variations according to the market price. I mean, as the price of a product is changed, the demand for that product is also follows up. Okay, also follows up. If I say this in brief, if the price change, demand change, demand change. Okay, this is a basic principle. This is basic principle. As you can see here, right? Okay, the quantity of ice cream cones, as an example, this is an example. You can see that, right? You can see that. Okay, you can see that. Okay, so here is the this is the supply chains. Okay, uh, as time as the price goes on, the price once the price from 0.5 to 2, right? As the price from here goes up, okay, rise up to here, then the supply of what? Supply of corn is also okay contrary to demand schedule, meaning that once price up, demand decrease, but supply raise. Okay, supply raise. Okay, demand decrease, but supply raise. This is basic principle in economy. In terms of price, the variation of demand and supply. This is the same. This is the same. Jelly's supply. The jelly supply, for pricing goes up, demand also goes up. Okay, so we can combine these two to see the market price. Okay, the market price. Okay, market price also here, which goes a similar phenomenon. Okay, comparing to Benny's supply and Jerry's supply. Okay, this is in terms of supply, and we can see that the supply will be increased. This is increase of supply. Supply will be increased according to the price goes up. Okay, price goes up, supply goes up. Okay, so this is the supply schedule according to demand. According to demand. Okay, so this time we will see according to the price, right? This time we will see the demand schedule, how demand will be varied. Okay, will be varied. Right? As you can see the table, you will see, the supply schedule as if you see as you can see here at the supply schedule, this is the code as a supply schedule, right? Supply schedule. Supply schedule. And this is a supply schedule, the table for the supply schedule. As you can see here, this is the number of supply as the number. If we go at right, number will increase, right? If we go up, the price will increase. Price increase. Price increase. If you see this schedule, you can easily detect that supply will increase when price increase. Here, the price from 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. Okay, as price goes up, you can see the quantity of supply also go together. Here, right? Here, right? Okay, 0.5, then 2, 2 to 4, like this. Okay, so this graph slope upward, right? Slope as price increase, the supply also, the number of supply, the quantity of supply also go together. So we will have the graph slope upward. Slope upward, right? Slope upward. Oh, sorry. slope upward, right? Slope upward here like this. Okay. This is the general principle of economics. Okay, because the manufacturers, the supplier want to supply more because the price of a product goes up in market. The meaning of goes up of price is that there is in short of supply, meaning that there are more demand than supply. More demand sometimes. More demand. More demand. Okay? More demand than supply. In this case, the price in market will be increased. Okay? To make more money, the supplier want to supply more product. So the quantity of product will be increased. Okay, like this. Okay, this is a price schedule. Okay, it's price schedule, and this is a price cover here. Okay, this is price schedule and price. Okay. As you can see here in the explanation for the table here, the price schedule is the price schedule is a table, this one matching together, that shows the quantity spread at each price. At each price here and each price here, this price, this amount, this price corresponding to this amount, like this. Okay, you can see it according to price to demand, price to supply, price to supply. Okay, like this way. Okay. Okay, this is the supply schedule and supply demand, supply cover, and you will see how this graph, heading. You will see the easily this graph is heading with a slope upward, okay, upward slope here, like this. Okay, you can see we have a slope here, we have a slope here, but this slope is upward. Okay, upward here, right this way. Okay, so you can easily detect this one. Okay, regarding demand cover in economics, I will explain it again. This is very nature, easy to. If you see that as the price goes up, the demand goes down, right? This is very nature because we fear the burden of purchasing because of money, right? We have two examples here, the Catherine and Nichols. Catherine, for example, this is the pricing. Pricing goes up, and then the demand for the ice cream is also goes down here. Okay. Once you may see this here, right? The price 0.5, the demand is the point to meet here, right? 10. Okay. From 5 to 10, right? Yes, here 10. Catherine 10. Nicholas also 6. Okay. The sum 16. So here, the 6, right? 6 and 16. So the sum of these two guys is converted to market demand. The market demand is easily calculated by sum up. all of purchases demand. Okay. In these assumptions, only two people are involved in purchasing in the market, but actually in reality, hundreds, thousands, millions, we can calculate, but we just simplify, as I told you, to detect the relation between price and demand. We just simplify that only two people are engaged in economy. Okay, so you will learn easily that market demand is just sum of each portions, sum of each demand. Sum of each demand will be converted to market. Okay, the market demand is a sum of each demand. In this case, we assume only two people involved in this economy. So you can see that 10 demand at each price of 0.5 and 6 demand corresponding to 5, and once we sum up 16 demand. The 16 demand is market demand. Okay, this is market demand. So we learned just now that the market demand is come from sum of each demand. Okay, this is each demand. Okay, this is very easy concept to understanding. So we will calculate market demand as by summing up each demand. Okay, so then let's see the next. Okay, so this is the demand, market demand. Market supply is also the same principle. The market supply calculations is the same principle. Okay, each market supply plus sum up is total market supply as likely market demand. Okay, as likely market demand. Okay, then let's go to the next. Okay, then here we can see that one thing we have to understanding here, we have two kind of demand variations. One principle is that the demand change, we call this change as a movement. The demand movement along the curve, along the demand curve. We have, for example, here we have two illustrations here. Okay, illustration here. Illustration A is a shift in the demand curve. What is the meaning of shift? And contrary, demand B expressed as a movement. Okay, so we have two kinds of demand change. So here's the shift. A shift meaning that demand curve itself move upward or left or right, upward or downward. This is downward. Okay, move, shift downward, shift upward like this. Okay, and the meaning of this is different from the meaning of movement. The movement means on the line, along the demand curve here like this. Okay, the demand move here, 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 here like this. Okay, here like this. Okay, it depending on what the items and how the demand move, right? Anyway, a movement along demand curve is occurred when the factors price and quantity changed. Quantity changes. This is example of a tobacco demand. Okay. Once, how we can distinguish? Now I will explain this. Okay. Once the government increase when the government increase the tax of tobacco, then this tax increase will make a bad influence on price because the price will goes up automatically. Price goes up. Okay. Then the demand will be decreased. Okay. But that demand decreased is just along this curve, not moving, not shifting, the curve itself downward or upward. Just demand changes along with this curve. Okay, this is the movement along the demand curve. In case of a variation price, okay, so once the demand move along the demand curve, the fact, the cause of movement is by price. Okay, by price. Okay, but in this case on the left illustrations, this is different. This is different from B. Illustration A shows that it tells that okay, demand curve itself move. In this case, we called shift, not movement, shift downward or upward. The shift and the movement should be distinguished because the two concepts of the shift and movement is different. Okay. Then why we call the shift? Because demand curve itself move entirely up or down or upward. The reasons is quite different also from movement. In movement, the main causality, the main cause of movement of the demand is from price. Simply price. Okay? The reason is illustrated on the picture here. The price is the causality which makes demand move around the curve. But contrary, the shift is different. Once the shift of this curve movement is because of other factors which is not shown in the graph. For example, so we have some series. Okay, in this case, illustration B, the movement can occur once government, I told you, increase the tobacco tax. Then automatically the price of tobacco will be increased. Then the main reasons is the price increase. Once the price is increased, people are resistant to price of tobacco, so they will reduce the purchasing of tobacco, right? But on the left side, illustration 1 can be occurs not pricing, but the other factors which makes on movement, not movement, I'm sorry, the shift of. In this case, can be induced like, advertisement, advertisement and campaign. Okay, advertisement or campaign like okay, once you increase the tobacco day, you will have more possibility for your cancer right there. Okay, cancer. Okay, if you have more tobacco, you will have more possibility cancer. Then this is a sort of campaign and advertisement. Then regardless of price of tobacco, cigarette, okay, the consumer will be reduced the tobacco. So this is the cause of a move of a shifting demand curve. Okay, not only this one, but also other example can be occurred. We will have more example. Okay, in case of you know not directly the causality of the price of that product, other product pricings, other product pricings. Okay. For example, we will assume that uh, you know uh, incomes income. If income reduced, you might have less purchasing power because you don't have much money. Okay, this income is not notified in this graph. Okay, in this graphs only price and demand are notified. Okay, but the income is not is unseen factors which makes the demand. In this case, the factors which is not shown in the graph, once this kind of factors makes an influence on demand, the demand curve will shift, not movement along the curve. Okay, so we have distinguished the two concepts of demand curve variations. Okay, one variation is a shift, another variation is a movement. Okay, the shift itself means that the curve move entirely down or up. Contrary, the movement along the demand curve, the demand curve do not shift downward or upward. Just the demand point will be moved around along the curve. Okay, so the curve will be fixed. So we have distinguished these two concepts: demand curves, movement, and shift. This is quite a similar terms but different meaning. Okay, so when then, I'm now summarizing again. When then movement shift, when then demand curve shift upward or downward, and when the demand point change along the demand curve. Okay, the factor, once the factor is notified on demand curve, like a price. In this case, the demand point is moving along the curve like this. Okay, but the factors is not notified in demand curve or in the graph. Other factors means I gave you one example: income. Once income decreased, you will have a decrease for the demand of tobacco because you have to reduce. You have less money to purchase it. Okay, so In this case, the income will be one factor which makes influence on demand curve shifting. And other things then, okay, in this case, as the income increase and decrease, the demand increase and decrease for the certain product. In this case, this product is called as a normal goods, normal goods. Okay, normal good. The meaning of a normal good is the goods which is influenced by factors, okay, by factors. Okay, this is normal good. Once income increase, demand increase. When income decrease, demand decrease. In this case, these goods are influenced by the factors. Okay, by the factors. So in this case, we call this kind of product as normal goods, normal product. Okay, normal goods. Okay, and also we have so normal goods, and we have a normal goods. I'll show you another. And inferior goods. A normal goods is the goods once income increased, demand increased. When income decreased, demand decreased, we called this kind of goods as inferior goods. Inferior goods. Okay? So we have to distinguish normal goods and inferior goods. What is the example of inferior goods? Okay. Public transportations can be a good example. Public trans. In case of public transportations, once you have increased income, you prefer to use your private transportation, right? Because you have much money to afford it. Okay? But once you don't have much money, you will use public transportation to save your money. The same phenomenon. Okay? In this case, as the income increased, your demand decreased for certain items. In these items is called inferior goods. Okay, inferior goods. As inferior goods example, I show you the public transportations. Okay? You don't want to buy subway. You don't want to use subway, and you don't want to use, bus, the public transportations, because you have much money. Okay, so you can use the taxi, or you can use your private vehicles, because you can equal to that kind of private one. Okay? So in this case we called inferior goods. Okay, inferior goods is the goods which move contrary. Once income increased, inferior goods decreased. Okay, in this case we call this kind of goods as inferior goods. Okay, then let's move to and another factors which makes influence on purchase. Uh, Income, I told you just now, and factors which makes influence on, okay, and then incomes, and you might see the substitute. What is substitute? The substitute is as an alternative. Okay, alternative, which can be replaceable. Okay, for example, uh, substitute substitutes is a good example is alternative and replaceable things, which can be and good examples is hamburger and hot dog. Hamburger and hot dog. Once the hamburger price is goes up, the demand of hot dog will be goes up because this relation is as an alternative, as a substitutus. Okay, hamburger goes up. Oh, we have another options to replace this one. This is hot dog. So the relation between hamburger and hot dog is a substitute. Okay, and this substitute, once the hamburger price goes up, the demand of hot dog will goes up. Okay, so this is the influence factor, which is not notified in the graph. Okay, in this case, number 2 will be adopted. Why? Number B is only adopted once, the price of that product is moving. The demand will move along the curve. Okay, like this one. But the hot dogs demand, in hot dog demands, the hamburger's price is not notified here. Only hot dog's price will be notified here. Then this is a factor which is not notified. In this case, the shipment of demand curve moving demand curve, the shipment of demand curve is applied. So not B but A is applied. Okay, so we have to distinguish this one. In this case, the hot dog and the hamburger. And if you have a higher price of sweater clothing, then you will buy shirts. Okay, shirts. This one is also right. Substitute, the same one, right? So the substitute is the product which can be replaceable, Okay, once the other items price increased, substitute is the another items which can be replaced as alternative. Okay, this is so the substitute makes an influence of demand of a certain product. Okay, so as you can see, the substitute make an influence on, for example, on cigarette, the demand curve will shift like A, not B. The B is only adopted when the price of cigarette is varied. Okay, Once a cigarette price is various. Okay, so we have to understanding two kind of movement. Two kind of movement. Shift and the movement along the cover. Okay, we have to understanding these variations. Two variations of demand curve. Two variations of demand curve. Okay, so and another factors which makes influence on demand curve is a complement. 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 Okay, complement is like this. Once the price goes down, I'm sorry, not goes in. For instance, a price goes down. Example of the gas price goes down, then demand of car increase, right? Goes down, increase. Increase. Okay. This is a complement. We will have lots of complementer except this. Except this. Once the gas price goes down, you might have more demand for car because gas is cheap. You have no burden of driving car, right? In this case, we can call, the relation between two, right? Okay, then complement, right? And also, we have another, factors which makes an you will have the expectation for the expectation for future. You are expecting your increase of salary. Then you will spend more today. Spend more because you are looking for to higher salary. Then you expect the salary from tomorrow. You will spend more today. Okay, and you will saving less. Saving less. Spend more. Okay, this is also make an influence on your purchasing demand. The expectation for future. Expectation for future. Okay, and number of purchase. In this assumption, only two people are engaged, right? We assume only two people in this economy, but in reality, hundreds, thousands, millions, trillions of people are engaged in economy. As demand increase, as your demand increase, naturally, the demand for the product was also increased. The number of people who want to purchase product increase, the demand for that product will increase. This is very nature phenomenon. This is very nature phenomenon. Okay, so the demand. Okay, so this is the demand principle and the demand curve, which has two variations. Okay, we have two variations I'm told, right? Shifting curve, movement curve. Okay, so we have to distinguish these two. The same one at the supply schedule, the supply graph. Okay, this is the same concept adapted to supply phenomenon. Okay, so let's see that one. It's the same one. If you understand the contrary, you will makes it easily. Okay, don't be worried about that. It's very easy. Okay, then the sprite curve again. See that regarding the sprite curve, I have explained this in initial stage, but sprite curve is the same principle like that. As price increased, as you can see, the price increased here. Okay, you will see the price here, right? Price increased here, and you will have a increase of supply. This is number of supply. Okay, quantity of ice cream cone here, like that. Okay, this is the same. As the price increased, price goes up, and then supplier can make more money. Okay, then he also try to increase the quantity. Okay, quantity of ice cream cone. Here as an example, ice cream cone. Okay, this is a very nature phenomenon, right? In supply. Okay, then see that this is very basic, and then if we see next step. Okay, yeah, and also the supply in market is horizontal sum of, this is horizontal sum, right? This is market is a sum of each demand, right? Of each supply. Sum of each supply. So you have only plus sum of each supplier, right? Each supplier. This is 2, 2, 4. Okay, 3, 4, 7, 4, 6, 10. This is total demand in market. Total supply in market. So this plus this, each supplier's plus sum up is market supply. Okay, this is the same with demand theory. Okay, then So finally, we can reach equilibrium. The equilibrium is the point where demand and supply meet. Demand and supply meet. This is the equilibrium price. Equilibrium price here, right? When demand and supply meet, the equilibrium price is established. Okay, the establishment equilibrium price is at the just spot where demand and supply meet together. Okay, this is equilibrium price point. Okay, this is equilibrium. So equilibrium point. So this point is very important. This is the another word, clearing price. Clearing price. Okay, this is also called as a clearing price. Okay, then we will see that clearing price point. Then let's see what can be happened on the basis of clearing. Clearing price is the just price, demand and supply meet together at the equilibrium price. Equilibrium price is very important. This is clearing price. What is clearing? The clearing supply and demand. Okay, this is equilibrium price. Okay, see that. And let's see the phenomenon happen on the center of equilibrium price. Here we can easily see that. We have two graph here on the basis of equilibrium price, and this is good example and illustrations. We can detect how market works. Once excess demand and once excess supply. Okay, so we have run what is equilibrium price. The equilibrium price is the price where demand and supply condition meet together. So demand and supply is clearing at this point. Okay, so we call this one clearing point. And then see that what can happen. Okay, this point is just a point I have pointed out. It is here. So equilibrium point, right? Okay, in this point, $2 is just a market price. This is market price, right? Okay, this is market price. Then the problem is that even this is market price. The market price then along this supply chain, if at market price the proper supply is 7, okay, and then the price corresponding is $2, right? Then the price supplier goes up, increase the price up to 0.5. So the price 2.5 Okay, price increased, and then along with price increased, supplier increased also the quantity 10. Okay, then we can meet here like this. Then here we will have this kind of phenomenon. Okay, and proprietary price, the equilibrium price is $2, and corresponding quantity is 7. Though supplier increased price 0.5 more, and also along with price he increased quantity 3 more, so up to 10, 3 more. Then the price 0.5 increased and quantity 3 more is called as a surplus, excess, because the appropriate point is $2 and 7 quantity. Then we have increased the 3 more in supply quantity and 0.5 more in price. Then we call this is a surplus. Then what can happen? Okay, in this graph, excess supplier purchase demand, the buyer in the market want to purchase at $0.2, but they do not increase demand. Okay, as they do not increase demand, there will be more product unsold. Okay, then it can be in stock in the factory, because this is surplus, excess. Then equilibrium point. Then as the stock increased in the factory store, increased because as time goes on, the increase will be higher, because the purchasers do not want to buy more than $2, so the price will be back to $2 from 2.5 here back to equilibrium point. Okay, this is automatic functions in the market. Once supply access, okay, the supply will be back to equilibrium point, because they will increase their deficit. And then what about shortage? What is the meaning of shortage? Okay, contrary to A, excess supply, excess demand, meaning that the shortage of supplier. Okay, the shortage of supplier is supply is in short of demand. Okay, in this case, let's see that. Okay, this is equilibrium, and this is the price and demand. So at least 7 quantity should be supplied in market. But as you can see, the demand is 10 here. The meeting here, demand is 10. Okay. Here demand is 4, but as you can see, supply is 10. We have 7 more surplus here, right? But the equilibrium is 7, so 3 more in the equilibrium. Okay, and here see that. But in this point, the appropriate demand is 7, but as supplier increase supply up to 10, the price goes up. Okay, and also the price goes up, and the demand fall at this price is only 4. So demand reduced even from equilibrium price. Okay, then I told you they automatically their stock in warehouse will be increased and their damage will be increased of the damage of supplier. So they will decrease they will down price up to equilibrium. Okay, so naturally this one will be back to equilibrium point. Contrary here, in this case, appropriate quantity in the market is a 7. Okay, but as supplier shortage, their supply up to they have here you can see. Okay, here you can see. But they have reduced their supply down to 4, and contrary demand here, this is demand cover, demand increased up to 10. Then they have a 6 shortage gap. Okay, 6 shortage gap as the demand increased. Okay, supplier can increase their price up to $2. Then it also automatically return to equilibrium point here. Okay, so eventually both of this graph will be returned to equilibrium point natural. Okay, so this shows that how the market operate. Okay, how the market operate by regulate their demand and pricings. Okay, so once the excess supplier and excess demander, how the market will work. So this graph shows that the 2 kinds of phenomenon. Okay, so we will the policymaker. So the policymaker detect this one by surveying the demand and supply in the market. Then they can find appropriate point. The appropriate point meaning that equilibrium point. Okay, the equilibrium point is very important as a guideline to detect whether shortage meaning that the excess demand, or whether surplus meaning that excess supply. Okay, so these 2 graph shows that how the mechanisms works in real, you know, market. Okay, so this is very good examples how it works.